So this is the first video on the practice test for Unit 4 Algebra 1, which we're focusing in on writing linear equations given information of the line in all three forms. We're talking about point-slope form, slope-intercept form, and standard form. And I have those forms written on the board. And I actually put them in a certain order to help you out. So anytime I give you 2 points, the only thing you could do with 2 points is to apply the slope formula. And then once you find that m value, you could use that m value to write it in point-slope form. Why? Because you had points to start with, and you just found the slope. So you could plug in your slope right there and your x1, y1 right there, and it'll be in point-slope form. And then from there, it's really easy to change the point-slope form to slope-intercept form. All you have to do is distribute and then move that value over, and it'll be y by itself being y equals mx plus b. And then from slope-intercept form to standard, that's really easy as well, because all you have to do is move this term over to the other side and you'll have the ax plus by equals c. The only thing you have to look out for is that you don't have any fractions or decimals. That's why these letters are capitalized, to help you remember this. Okay, let's begin. Question number 1, it says write the equation of the line that passes through this point and is perpendicular to this equation. So the first things first, we need to know what perpendicular means, all right? Perpendicular means that we have opposite reciprocal slope values. And parallel means that you have the same exact slope, okay? So parallel means same slope, and perpendicular means opposite reciprocal slope. So what does opposite reciprocal slope mean? It means that you change the sign of the slope and you flip the fraction. So they want us to write an equation of the line that passes through this point. So they're obviously giving us a point, which is the coordinate 4, 3, and they're giving us, indirectly giving us a slope. How are they giving us a slope? Well, they're giving us a slope because they're telling us that our slope will be perpendicular to this slope. Now, what does perpendicular mean? Opposite reciprocal m values. You have to change the sign and flip the fraction. Now I know what you're thinking that's not a fraction, that just says -2. Okay, but you could make it look like a fraction. Okay, so let's make it look like a fraction, put it over 1. So if you change the negative to a positive and you flip the 2 and the 1, it's going to be a positive 1/2. So indirectly they're telling us that our slope is positive 1/2. Okay, so once again, they gave us a point and they indirectly gave us a slope of 1/2. Okay, so if they give you a point and they give you a slope, what form are you going to use? You're going to use point-slope form. And when you use point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m parenthesis x minus x1, I recommend you rewrite it with blank spots. Y minus blank spot equals blank spot parenthesis x minus blank spot. And then you simply plug in your x1, y1 value right here and here. Where are we going to get the x1 and the y1? From the point that they gave us, right? x1, y1. So the x1 value is 4 and the y1 value is 3. So the y1 value is 3, plug it in right there. The x1 value is 4, plug it in right there. And of course the slope is 1/2. So take that 1/2 and put it right there where the slope belongs. So this is our point-slope form equation. Question is, are any of these multiple choice answers this point-slope form equation? Well, it starts out with the y minus 3. That's what I'm going to look for. There's y minus 3. It's the only one that has a y minus 3. But the slope should be 1/2, and over here it says the slope is 2. So that's not correct, right? That's not correct. We know that it can't be this one either, because that's y minus 4, and we need a y minus 3 right there, so that didn't work out. The only other 2 equations, they're not in point-slope form. They're in slope-intercept form. So if I really wanted to check if it was one of these in slope-intercept form, I would have to change this into slope-intercept form. I hope you guys recognize that this is a y equals mx plus b. This is a y equals mx plus b. So how do I change this to become y equals mx plus b? Well, first of all, y equals mx plus b does not have parentheses, so you would actually have to distribute those parentheses. So let me actually zoom in here and distribute the 1/2 into the parentheses. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that right. So 1/2 times x, that is a 1/2 x 1/2 times -4, if you do that on a calculator, that'll be a -2. Bring down the equal sign, bring down the y, bring down the minus and the 3. It's almost in slope-intercept form. It's almost having y by itself. It's almost in y equals mx plus b form. All we need to do is get rid of that minus 3 by doing the opposite. Plus 3 here, plus 3 over here. And we now have it in slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/2 x plus 1. So let's double check our answer over here. Multiple choice, y equals 1/2 x plus 1. And that would be this one in green. Okay, I hope you understood all that work. Let's move on. On this question, it's asking us to write the equation in standard form. You know what? Don't even worry about standard form right now. Let's see what information they give us, and then we'll see what form it's easiest to plug into, and then we'll worry about writing the final form in standard form. Okay, so what do they give us? Let's begin with that. They tell us that it passes through a point and is parallel to. Okay, so if your line is parallel to this line, we should know that parallel means same slope. So this line, thank goodness it's in point slope form. You could actually visually see the slope right here. So what is the slope right here? The slope is -3. Okay, so the slope of the equation that they give you is -3. And you know that your slope has to be the same as that slope. Let me zoom in here a bit. Okay, so your slope has to be the same as that slope of the line given to you. Why the same? Because that's what, I'm sorry about that, that's what parallel means. It means same slope. Okay, so your slope is going to be the same slope, -3. So we have very important bit of information there. And they also tell us that it passes through the point -3, 1, which is really a x1, y1. Okay, that's really a xy value. So they give us a point and they give us a slope. Okay, so what are we going to use? We're going to use point slope form. So here's our point slope form equation. Let's rewrite it, but with blank spots. Notice I'm just writing everything that's in black, and I am going to plug in my y1 value, which is 1, right? They give you the point, that's your y1 value, put a 1 right there. The m value we know is -3 because they told us that it's parallel to this one, so we have to have the same slope, which is -3. So put a -3 right there. And the x1 value is -3 up there, so put -3 right there. This is our point slope form equation. Let's just change the minus to plus. So the question is, did they ask for point slope form? No, they did not. They asked for standard form. But as you could see, it was really, it's the most convenient to write it in point slope form, even though they want it in standard form. So what other forms do we know besides point slope form? We know slope intercept, y equals mx plus b, and the standard form that they want, which is capital AX plus capital BY equals capital C. And the reason why they're capitalized is to help you remember that you don't want fractions, okay? So obviously neither of these forms have parentheses. So let's get rid of these parentheses by distributing that -3, right? -3 times x is a -3x, -3 times +3, that's a -9. Bring down the equal sign, the y, the minus, the 1. And it's almost in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. All I need to do is get y by itself. So let's get rid of that -1 by doing the opposite, +1. That'll cancel out. What I do to one side, I do to the other side, +1. I will have y equals -3x minus 8. Y equals -3x minus 8. Now, if the instructions would have said, write it in slope-intercept form, then this would be my answer. But they're asking it for a standard form, which is capital AX plus capital BY equals capital C. You want your x's and your y's on the left side of the equal sign. You want your number all by itself on the right side. So this number, -8, I want it by itself. I want this x on the other side. So in order to change it, I'm going to do the opposite of 3x, or -3x, which is +3x. And what I do to one side, I do to the other side. And now I actually finally have it in standard form. Y plus 3x, you can't do that. So let's write it with the x term first. That'll be a 3x plus y equaling the -8. This is what you type in, and you will get full credit, and you want to type it in with no spaces between your terms. Let's move on to the next one. Write the equation of the line that passes through the following points. So the only thing that you could do with 2 points is to apply the slope formula and find the slope. That would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you need to know how to use the formula. I would rewrite it m equals division, subtractions, and then you plug in your x1, y1, and your x2, y2 from those points. So the y2 value is 4, the y1 value is negative 6, the x2 value is 7, the x1 value is 7. So what happens here is that you end up with a plus plus, so that's 10 over 0, which is undefined. Now, if they ask for the slope, I would say undefined, but they're not asking for the slope, they're asking for the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. So I hope we remember what undefined slopes look like. On an xy plane, you have a slope, let's say, of 1, of 2, of 3, of 4, and it keeps getting steeper and steeper until it gets totally vertical. That's totally undefined. All right? Or another way of looking at this is visually think of these coordinates, 7, negative 6. You go out to 7 on the x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 6 on the y, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you put a dot right there. Now the other one is 7, positive 4. So you go 7 on the x and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y. And you put a dot right there. And that is a vertical line. So the slope right there is undefined. Anyways, this vertical line, the equation of it is the equation x equals positive 7. So that's the equation that we want. That's the equation that's right here. That's what you select to get full credit. Now, I might as well just do a slight review. Let me just move this to the side right here. The fact is, anytime I tell you to graph, like let's say x equals 2, x equals 2 will always be a vertical line. So you go to the x-axis, you go to the value of 2, you put a dot right there on the x, and it will be a vertical line running up and down, okay? If I told you graph the equation, let's say y equals 5, y equals 5. Well, what does the equation y equals 5 look like? You go to the y-axis, you go to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you put a dot right there, and then that is a horizontal line, okay? It's that simple, okay? X equals a number will give you a vertical line. Y equals a number will give you a horizontal line. And if you wanted to even dive further, it all goes back to an input-output table. So if you were to focus in on x equals 2 with the input-output table, the only thing that this equation cares about is that your x values are equal to 2. So on your x side, you're going to put a bunch of 2's. 2, 2, 2, as many 2's as you want. And what about on the y side? Well, there are no y's, so y could be whatever you want, right? So y could be, let's say, 0, could be 2, could be negative 3, could be negative 5, I don't know, whatever you want. And all of these coordinates will line up to be this vertical line. Think about it, 2, 0, 2, 0 is right there. 2, 2 is up there. 2, negative 3, 2, negative 5, it's a perfectly vertical line. Likewise, if you were about to explain to somebody why the equation y equals 5 is a horizontal line, you would tell them because the input-output table, there is no x to plug in. So x could be whatever you want, okay? It could be 0, it could be 1, it could be 2. What about the y's? Well, this equation says that y has to be equal to 5. So you have a 5 here, a 5 on the y, a 5 on the y. And these coordinates, 0, 5, 0 on the x, 5 on the y, there it is. How about 1, 5, 1, 5? How about 2, 5, 2, 5? It produces this horizontal line. Okay. I think we're going to end this first video here. It's already getting pretty lengthy. We'll start a second video with the rest of these questions.